What's up, everybody? This is Ahmed,
And Luffy.
and this is the Brotherly Love Podcast, episode 17. Yeah, yeah.
What's good, bro?
I'm chilling. I'm very tired.
Yeah.
I don't really know why, but
We're shooting a little later than normal too.
well, not even that. I guess because I just didn't really sleep well. I kept waking up in the middle of the night. But I'm gonna try to persevere through the day, get a little workout in. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Let's hop right into it.
Yeah, we were talking about Drake's new song, how he was talking about Louis Gucci and a
You
bunch
can
of
shop at Louis, shop at something.
yeah. And I was pretty much saying, I don't know,
Mhm.
but it's a catchy song. But what I was saying pretty much was that my opinion is that people who like to purchase in those high brand areas, although they can have money and be rich, I don't think they're wealthy because they're just kind of spending money on like senseless things. That's my opinion. I feel like you can get those same quality shirts or bags or whatever you're trying to get at other retail places. But like I said, this isn't a fact. It's just my opinion.
Well, I mean, let's start off with this. You buying Louis, you buying Gucci, like you got money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's not. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe for me,
here's-
it's not useful for spending money.
Well, yeah, that's based off of your values. You know what I'm saying? Like you buy stuff based off of how you
Mm-hmm.
value it, right? But like even going to how you described it, you're like, you said people with money don't, you differentiated number one, being rich versus being wealthy.
Yeah.
And then number two, you started talking about the quality of the goods that you could buy with those funds.
Yes.
So you're looking at it from a completely different angle than someone who's purchasing like a designer or a name brand. Now, granted, a lot of reasons like designer and name brand is expensive is because of the quality of the stuff. Hold on. Like if you're
Okay.
talking about like certain, say in the watch world, right? Not now, but like 10 years ago, I was really into watches and I would be sitting online and reading about IWC and Omega and Rolex, and you read about them and you start to understand why this watch costs $2,000, $3,000. It's because this Portuguese date just like was handmade, and you can see the mechanical movements and this and that, and like there is a certain quality, and like those items will last you a lifetime, right? Now, if you're talking about like Coach, or if you're talking about like
Coach?
the brand like Coach,
I don't know that brand.
it's one of the brands. I don't know if it's like what it's considered exactly. But I think it's higher end. Like stuff like that. A lot of Ralph Lauren, I put in the same category. Like a lot of the brands like that, I feel like they get a lot of. I'd put Gucci. I mean, to be honest, I put most of the shit in that category. Like the modern. I'll say this: if normal people know the name of the brand you're wearing, the brand is probably more valuable than the clothing.
That's true.
Like if you rocking like a $500 t-shirt, say for I'm just
Supreme. That's exactly what I was thinking about. So when you said high quality, I looked at you weird because Supreme is quite literally a $5 shirt. The logo. Here is it for $500. They made bricks.
Yeah.
And it sold out. You know what I'm saying? So it's more so the brand.
Fire extinguishers.
Yeah. So it's more so the brand than the clothing itself. Now, when you were speaking about brands that have high quality material or high quality value in terms of certain products, I agree. Let's say, for instance, handbags, watches, hats, things that in a way are like accessories. I feel like they do have a lot more quality than the clothing itself. Now, that doesn't go to say that, every high-end place doesn't have good quality clothing.
I was gonna say like like we need to make a differentiation. You know what I'm saying? Like, or there is a differentiation that you should make between the value of the brand versus the quality of the materials.
Yes.
Right. And how each of those two things affects the pricing at the end that you pay and what you're willing to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So like there is a difference between like a cheapo Filippo $2 shirt and a $20 shirt. Sometimes you can find like a really big quality difference between
Hmm.
those two. Now, what is the quality difference between a $20 shirt and a $200 shirt? Like at a certain point, like you relying on the brand as opposed to the shirt. Now, going back to like Ralph Lauren, Ralph Lauren's a great example, right?
Hmm.
Because Ralph Lauren used to be like luxury class stuff,
Is
right?
it not?
Well, Ralph Lauren suffered and maybe is still suffering from what Gucci is currently suffering from, which is that their their items have become mainstream. Now you can argue the opposite side of this,
For
but all
Gucci's mainstream or Ralph Lauren is
no no no
mainstream?
no 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 of the take I'm about to make right now.
Oh, okay.
Like those brands are mainstream luxury brands, right?
Okay.
Which adversely affects their brand value.
Okay.
Meaning,
So, mhm.
right? Tommy Hilfiger supposedly or allegedly, you know what I'm saying?
Allegedly.
Allegedly, Tommy Hilfiger, like back in the day, he was like, "Yo, I don't want black people wearing my clothing." Whatever, because it diminishes the value when you see a bunch of like when hood niggas basically aspire to wear Ralph Lauren, they diminish the brand, and you see that represented in the brand by them moving from no logos to small logo to the fucking horse takes up 3/4 of the shirt. Right? And the reason being is because at a certain point the the people who were buying it switched from buying it from a quality perspective, like, hey, this is a nice quality brand, to I'm buying this to flex on you broke niggas, right? And I need them to see what I'm wearing, so look at how big this logo is. I feel like really wealthy people, right? Like they wear the same white t-shirt you wearing, but their shit costs $200. You know what I'm saying? But it just looked like your H&M $5 t-shirt. Where a rich person would have on $150 shirt, but it got a little logo in the corner. You know what I'm saying? Or something down here that says Hugo Boss, or something over here that says whatever. I don't even know brands. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
yeah. Then.
Hmm. In terms of what you're saying about allegedly Tommy Hilfiger saying that, that's actually not far out of reach. I'm pretty sure recently in the past 2 years or so, Gucci was under fire, possibly over the same thing, where
Mm-hmm.
they might have said some racist remarks. Don't quote me because I'm not that involved in that kind of culture, guys. Like I'm just chilling. But from their perspective of back in the day of, oh, if black people wear this, then it's going to diminish the quality because black people are seen as inferior. In terms of their racist mindset, which I do not agree with whatsoever, I can understand what they're saying. But it's
I mean, it's similar if you think about it in a way to like dress codes and like establishments like making dress codes and to give them like an out. You know what I'm saying? Like if I have a dress code, for instance, at now, and this is I'm getting ahead of myself, so let me slow down.
before you go into that, I actually wanted to say, so in terms of your theory,
Mhm.
what I believe is very similar is when a product becomes more mainstream, the less exclusive it becomes,
Mhm.
right? Which inherently will lose its value of being this special brand mark. I remember 10, 15 years ago or
Easy.
so, easy.
No, Yeezy.
Oh, Yeezy. Oh, okay. Like Kanye Yeezy.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, even like Yeezy. These products were so high end that only the elite, quote unquote elite, will have these kind of products. Like I remember going into high school, I remember there's like 3 kids that wore Yeezys, but everyone praised them like they were Yeezy.
Mhm.
It was crazy. Like they're like, do you have the Yeezys, bro? Like, yeah, man, I ordered it online in like the first 5 minutes, man. Okay.
It's like I used the auto clicker to buy it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's because they restricted the supply, which created like
More demand.
well it it did create more demand. There was already a demand for it, but then when you restrict the supply, it creates this like aura of exclusivity. It's like, oh shit, like you're the shit. if you have this shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's what a lot of people do for merch. Like when artists or uh creatives, whatever it is, when they have a brand and they start making merch, they only make a limited supply. Let's say, for instance, 50 hoodies. And they first say, oh, it's a flash sale. And they'll say, oh, it's at a discounted price, even though it's not at a discounted price. That was the actual price. But in terms of your mind, it seems cheaper. So more people are like, oh, there's only 50 left. Like, I have to get it. I have to. And it's not like I have to. It's more so there is a want to have that exclusiveness of that brand, whatever brand you want to rep.
That's kind of the J.C. Penney model.
Really?
Not the exclusivity portion that you talked about, but in terms of like jacking up basically the MSRP so that it looks
What's
like
the MSRP?
Basically the suggested retail price.
Okay.
You know? So it'd be like, for instance, they'd put on the tag of the JCPenney shirt or jacket or whatever, $200 MSRP. And then they'd be like, then $200. Now $100. Sale $50. And then you use this coupon code and you get it for $30. But really, no one ever bought that shit at 200, 100, or like the normal price is $30, right? But they allow you to make you feel like you're getting a good deal. So like what JCPenney used to do was like send out coupons in the mail.
Oh yeah,
all the time.
I remember that.
Yeah, and people would clip the coupons, and that was JCPenney's bread and butter. It was niggas who thought they were getting a deal because they're like, oh yeah, look, we can go to JCPenney and save money. We don't have to go to the high end shit, quote unquote, Macy's. You know what I'm saying? When you're talking about like how working class people see the differentiation, it's like they're like, okay, we have a department store that's for us, like it's a discounted place. Where they ended up fucking up, they got a new CEO, JCPenney. He came in and was like, why are we going through all these loops and jumps and shit? Like, let's just price it at $30 off jump. So that's what they did. They stopped their couponing. They started pricing everything at quote unquote like the normal price, like with no sales, and their business tanked.
Dropped.
Yeah, tanked. And JCPenney now is like, you know, shit's over.
It's very, very low bottom. It's so crazy that you say that because I'm pretty sure is one of my marketing classes, we actually learned about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So at first I thought it was just a random scenario they make up in class, like, oh, this new CEO, and so I didn't really take it seriously. But when you were saying, I was like, wait a second, I remember. Yeah, they did this.
We
they
did
stopped.
a case study on
yeah,
this.
we did a case study on this. We did a case study on this, Coca-Cola, Apple, how there was someone from Apple that.
So you actually learned something in school, huh?
I learned something in school.
Hey.
Yeah. But no, I 100% agree.
Paid
where
$100,000 to learn that.
it's crazy. It's crazy. But no, throughout the years of being a marketing college student, one thing I learned about marketing, it's just manipulation of the mind. Like, it's so crazy how effective it is when you have the right niche audience. Like, let's say, for instance, JCPenney. They knew they were targeting lower class, like middle class to lower class income, households. And they realized, okay, we could have it at this simple price of $30. Macy's could do the exact same thing. But initially it seems like, that might be a little too much for a shirt. But if you do that little thing where you're suggestive the pricing, then people are more inclined to be like, I want to get that shirt. I'm getting a discount. So when people think of discounts, they think of saving money. So that's why people do it.
Exactly.
And it's so crazy.
So they think of I'm saving $170 instead of I'm spending $30. Yeah.
Yeah.
So human
super
psychology,
crazy.
Man, is fascinating.
There is actually
loss aversion versus, we've talked about this before, I think.
Loss aversion?
Yeah, like remember I was telling you, I think before I've talked about it on the podcast, that humans, one of our features is that we avoid losses more than we gain joy from gains, I guess you can say. So our propensity, how we feel about losing, like we're more apt to try not to lose than we are to feel happiness from the gains that we get. So, we act more so out of trying to avoid losses than it is to further our gains.
That's really interesting. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So there was this guy, I forgot his name, but apparently he's like the father of marketing. This is back in the day when they were trying to sell cigarettes to women. Now, back in the day, that was not seen as attractive at all, right? So at first, they were just trying to sell it as like, oh, it's healthier for you. Well, it's better for you. When everyone knows it's not better for you. But what he did was like, okay, what's going on in history right now? There's a revolution for women. Women want empowerment. So what if we pretty much have it where, you know, Pavlov, where it was like the dog in the ring with the food and the salvation. What if we have it where when someone thinks of cigarettes, they think of empowerment. Boom. And then it became a huge new era.
What did they do? Did they give like Rosie the cigarette?
Yeah, they gave Rosie the cigarette, and she's smoking the cigarette.
Riveter? For real? Oh, I just
No,
guessing.
I think it was Rosie. It might have been Rosie or a different character.
Yeah.
But they gave like empowering women, you know, cigarettes.
Women on the front lines of the women's liberation movement.
Yeah, they gave them cigarettes, and so when they saw them do it, other women started doing it.
Look at these strong women.
Yeah, and they became a whole marketing tactic. And I'm like, whoa. So like, yeah, every time I'm on social media, every time I'm like just scrolling through something and I see how people are marketing their product or their brand, it's just real interesting because I dissect everything. I'm like, I can see where you did the colorization of here. I see what time you posted, you know, things like that. It's all like according to plan.
Yeah. No. I mean, people think this shit out. You know, it's not like not thought out.
I mean, sometimes it is, but those are the rare occasions.
Sure. You know, even okay, yeah.
What?
I want to go back to the point I wanted to make about the.
Oh yeah, I am so sorry.
No, that's fine because we were just finishing this up. You know, we had to finish this, and so that we can address that end.
That's true.
So private property rights.
This is more up his alley, but go ahead. I'm interested.
No. So, you know, basically what I was trying to get at earlier is this idea of a dress code, right? And the dress code is used modern day as like a gray area discrimination tactic, right? So, and it's most evident at a club, right?
Yeah.
So you go to a club or a bar or something like that. They're like, hey, we have a dress code. You can't wear sneakers. You have to wear nice shoes,
like dress shoes.
Yeah, dress shoes or something like that. I don't even know how to refer to them. But
no. I'm saying it's stupid for that, not you saying.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so I got you. So like stuff like that, right? Is like it creates exclusivity, right? Because it's like, oh, everyone in here is dressed a certain way. There's a aura of exclusivity. You have to wait outside before you can come inside. A lot of restaurants do this, right? Too. Like you go to, they're like, yeah, you know, it's gonna be about a 30-minute wait. Meanwhile, they have half the tables inside empty. You know what I'm saying? They're, oh yeah, it's about a 30. It's because they want to create the impression. And the other thing too is, especially with clubs and bars, when you see a lot of people outside, you want to, which is crazy to me. Like you see a lot of people waiting outside. People are like, damn, I want to go join that line of people.
Even though you don't know what it is, some like
right,
most times.
Shit could be horrible inside, right? But it's like you see a line of people waiting for something.
Oh yeah, like I want to go there.
Yeah, it's like when black people, like when they see people running, they're like, yo, why they running, bro? No, we gotta run too. Why they running,
bro? 100%. I remember, I forgot when this was. This might have been when I was like,
this ain't a track meet.
Yeah, when I was performing back in my senior year of high school. We would always perform in like downtown Richmond, and I'm pretty sure there was one time I saw a couple of my friends running, so I started going with them. I'm like, yo, I don't know.
Running too. You don't ask questions.
I don't ask questions. What's going on? I don't know. We just keep it going.
Yeah. But that's why we don't die in the scary movies.
No, we already know what's up. That's why I agree with that as well. Like when people go to clubs or even restaurants. I remember going to Olive Garden. I'm not sure when this was with you guys, but we went and there was like a 30-minute, 45-minute wait, and we waited.
You mean anytime you go to Olive Garden? Bro?
Yeah, and you just wait,
they
and then
capping, bro.
You pass by and like all these tables empty. But I also understand because it's not always necessarily about how many tables you have. It's about how many servers
and their capacity.
Yeah, and their capacity as well.
Yeah, but at the end of the day. Come on, bro. Like, how much harder is it for you to wait on one more table? Like, bro, like the way I always look at it is like, and this is the differentiation between, like small businesses and big businesses too, right? You pull up to a small business, they do your shit immediately. What do you need? All right, cool. Like they bend and there's no rules. It's what do you want, and let me see if I can appease you, right? Like you say you want to get your tire changed. You pull up to that shit in the hood, they do it on the spot.
That's facts.
Right? You want to get your tire changed, you go to one of these fancy ass like corporate, mechanic shop. Like, you got to schedule an appointment, and my nigga, I need my tire changed now, not next Tuesday at 3. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
So like there's certain levels of, but then going back to the, before I go
Dress code.
Yeah, going back to the dress code, right? And now the dress code's dicey, right? Because on one hand, right, it does create this exclusivity thing, right? On the other hand, like it has been used, and I'm not even gonna say it can, like it has been used to like discriminate against certain groups of people, like being blunt, black people, right? Like, bro, you go to a lot of like clubs and bars, like they have an unspoken rule with the bouncers and management of like, yo, you only allow in a certain number of black people. It's like once you read like, we can let black people in. That's how most places are. It's like, they're like, we can let black people in, but like once it gets to a certain number of black people, we start denying.
That's really interesting. I never knew about this.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, like it's real. Like now, thankfully for me, like I've never been, like when I've been dressed properly, I've never been denied entry into a place like while I've been dressed. You know what I'm saying? And then they skip me and go to some other group of people. Now, that's happened before, but it's never happened because I was a black male. It's happened because I was a male. Now bouncers do that shit all the time, right? They'll be like, hey. There'll be a group of girls, they'll just walk up to the front, looking whatever, look at the bouncer. Let them 3-4 of them girls into the whatever. And from a business perspective, it makes 100% sense. You have all these thirsty ass niggas waiting outside the club to go talk to those 3-4 girls, who just walked inside. So like, it makes sense to let them in, but at the same time, it's discriminatory, right? Like I was here first. It doesn't matter that they're a woman with big tits and a nice ass. Like I'm a dude. I'm up here. Like that's how this shit's supposed to work. It's a line, right? And this is where I'm saying it gets gray area, right? Because if I have a business and I'm like, yo, only white people or only black people are allowed to come shop in my business. Well, this is a private business, right?
Yeah.
Think about the masks policy. Like, yo, like I can tell someone like, yo, get the fuck out my store. You're not wearing a mask, right? I could tell someone, yo, get the fuck out my store. You're not wearing a shirt or shoes. You don't get service, right? You're not wearing a mask. You don't get service. Like I could tell you, like you could put in your mind to now those might be protected classes and like you're not allowed to discriminate in that way. But like all protected classes mean, in my opinion, is like if you get caught, right? At the end of the day, like it's a private business. I could be like, oh, yo, I don't like your shirt. I don't even got to give you an excuse or a reason. I could just be like, you got to leave. Like, they're like, why? And I'm like, because I'm the owner and I said, get the fuck out my store. Like,
that's fair. Yeah. Well, 2 things. One, I saw TikTok, and these 2 dudes entered the store. I'm pretty sure it was like a fast food establishment. One of them wasn't wearing a mask, and I think they're about to be like around closing time. It was around like dark time or so, nighttime, and the manager literally grabbed him, yeet, and just like threw him out the store because like, he wasn't wearing a mask. And I'm like, although yes, I was like, you could have been like, hey, can you move? Can you leave? Like imagine you just go into the store and you completely forget, oh yeah, I'm supposed to wear a mask. Yeet, get out. But the second thing, in terms of the ratio, I've learned throughout times of going to parties or going to events, you have to have, and it's unfortunate that it's like this.
Oh, women with you.
You have to have women with you. You can't, pull up with your boys and that's it.
Pull up 6 niggas deep to
yeah,
the party.
like, what are y'all doing?
Can we come in? It's like no.
Why?
Like, because so y'all can hit on all the girls we got inside. Like,
there's no value. There's no value.
Are you saying dick has no value, my nigga?
Unfortunately, there is less demand of men in the club and there's more demand of women in the club for the simple reason that, like you said, there's a lot of thirsty dudes trying to go in and slide up on some girls like, "Ayo, what's good?" You know what I'm saying? And get the number.
Can I just push back one thing though, to be honest?
Okay.
It does not happen often.
Okay.
But if there's too many women at a party, that is a problem as well.
I've never seen that in my life.
I have before.
Really?
And that's just, I don't want to say it's just as bad of an issue, but it is pretty much just as bad of an issue. Like, you need to have some semblance of a ratio. Now, here's the thing is that most women, I'm assuming, if it was like 80-20, they'd feel really uncomfortable, right? Like, say they walked into a club, it was 80% dudes in the club.
Oh, yeah, they would all leave.
Yeah, they would feel uncomfortable, right? Most dudes, you walk in, if it was 20% dudes, 80% girls, you'd probably be on the phone with your homeboys like, my nigga, come through right now.
I found the gold mine.
Right? Or you'd be like, yo, bro, you better shut your ass up. You don't say shit. We just gonna be chilling here. Like, don't say shit. Like,
yeah.
You know, like, but at a certain point too, right? When it flips over, like, then the dudes can start to feel uncomfortable with how many women are there. And not just that, right? We're looking at all this from the dude's perspective.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, flip it. In a scenario where there's 80-90% women, right, at a party, how do you think they feel at the party? You know what I'm saying? Because, yes, people go out to have fun, but people have different definitions of fun. There might be a good number of women there looking for something. You know what I'm saying? Why are they at a party? Like, yes, people can go out to have fun. I'm not arguing that. You could just, but why? Yeah, like,
but
so there's a large number of those women who are gonna be like, where the niggas so I could throw this shit back? You know, like,
yeah,
or at least so they can look. That's an underrated thing. Sometimes, yo. Sometimes it's just the ambiance. Like, I just want to be around beautiful people and just look.
That's fair. Yeah. Like I said, I've never
I just
been
look in the mirror if I
in
want
a
to see
situation where you're whack. I've never been in a situation where it was, way more girls than guys at a party or a function. Usually it's like, 50-50. It's a good even ratio.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, usually it's at a good even ratio.
I've gone before.
Yeah. But in terms of, I guess, going to the club or going to parties, one thing I've learned, you don't choose the women, they choose you.
Isn't that always in life, bro?
No.
How so?
Because in life, we're always taught, especially as young adults, you know what I'm saying, when you're growing up, it's always told that, you have to chase the woman. And I'm not saying they're chasing us in any kind of way whatsoever. But we're always taught that you have to make the first move, you have to da-da-da-da-da. But sometimes women don't want that. They just want to have their own peace, and that's perfectly okay. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they want to be with their homegirls and just chill.
Well, are we saying chase or choose?
All right, choose. Let me change it.
Because, and then we can change the word chase to maybe pursue. But like men do pursue women, right? Like that's like fundamentally like man hunter women. Like,
men hunter women.
Yeah, like like fundamentally, like men pursue women, but women choose the men that they want.
That's facts.
Them to pursue.
That's
like
facts.
It's like the girl kind of has to open the door for you to walk through it. Like, you got to walk through that shit, but
you can't bust it down.
Yeah, but she got to open the door up. Like, you're not coming in breaking all the shit off the hinges. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because most of these girls like Fort Knox, like, you're not getting close to that shit, bruh. Like,
they have to peek.
They see you coming from across the street. They be like, no, nigga, I have a boyfriend. You're like, I didn't even say good morning to you yet. Like, it's like, thank you, bye.
It sounds like a Long Beach Griffey video. Shout out Long Beach Griffey. That man is. I saw one of his videos this morning. Actually, hilarious. Oh, really? Yeah, it was like how the government's playing the pandemic, and it was in the eyes of like, imagine all like big corporation. It's like, all right, how should we plan this? Every 4 years, there's always a big, disease or a virus that's going around. How should we make this so big? Like, they're not taking it seriously. And then everyone's like saying like actual realistic ideas. They're like, nah. And then he's like, what if we shut down Disneyland? Everyone's like, oh, hold on. He's on to something. No. What if we shut down the NBA? Oh, whoa. And it was hilarious. But like I said, yeah, I 100% believe that, inherently men are supposed to pursue women. They're supposed to be the ones who, although when the woman shows interest and she'll open the door, that's what I've learned. Women don't always have to shoot their shot. although I prefer they do, they just kind of give you the alley oop.
Mm-hmm.
You have to slam dunk it.
Yeah.
You know, you have the choice to slam
They
dunk
are
it.
they are John Stockton of the dating world. Like, women, Steve Nash, like Rajon Rondo, like they got you with the nice assist. You know what I'm saying? Like
the
they'll
most
that joint
perfect
like,
assist.
you know, but you gotta leap for that shit and dunk it.
Yeah, you gotta
know, like-
you gotta see what it is. And
Yeah,
like,
you gotta be running the floor with them. Like
I remember this happened like a week ago. I was driving, and it kind of just hit me in the face. It was just like this one girl, that I know. I was like, "Hey, yo, she was flirting with me." I was like, "Wow."
you get that realization.
Yeah,
like-
and it was like 5 months, 6 months after. I'm like, "Damn, bro, shawty baddie," but it's all good. It's all good.
It is it's cool. Like, and that's the thing with flirting, right? It's like the flirting is the line between friendliness and like romance. Like you're flirting between those lines, you know, like you're going back and forth.
Blurred lines.
Yeah, these blurred. Well, that song's about something a little different.
Yeah.
You know, but it is like it would be nice if people in general, right, could be more direct with their intentions, right? Because there's the negative side of flirting, which is called being a flirt, which is a negative connotation.
I'm a flirt.
If someone calls you a flirt, like that can be a negative thing. Like
That's
that could
true.
be like, oh, you're interested in like talking, you know, but like nothing beyond like this, or like you just like to talk to a lot of different people and feel good about yourself, like knowing subconsciously that these people are into you without the commitment of, or the you not having the gall or having the balls, you know, to like actually pursue this in any meaningful way.
Yeah,
You know,
100%. It's an interesting thing that I'll often see, and this is for both men and women, non-binaries. You know,
being a flirt.
being a flirt.
Oh yeah,
like,
both. That's men and women. That's not. Yeah, that's
it's
not
very,
one gender at all.
It's very normal because, you know, people want to kind of test the waters to see what it is. But I do agree that people should be more direct with their intentions. Like one thing I've learned, older women, like women that are older than me or whatever, they let you know straight up what's up, flat out. Like they'll just let you know that this is what I want, this is what I'm interested in. Boom.
You know what? You know what I think it is. I think a lot of people think that clarifying your intentions removes the curiosity and the excitement of flirting.
That's true.
You know, they feel like it's like you just came in raw, like you just came in, you came in with the right hook, like when
Kamehame.
yeah, like you didn't warm up to this shit. You know, you weren't like feeling it
Foreplay.
out. Yeah, like flirting
Foreplay
is
of the mind.
foreplay. Yeah, exactly, bro. Foreplay. I mean, flirting is foreplay.
The thing is, you can still
Like,
have that.
And that's my point. Exactly. It's that
Yeah.
older women realize that, like, yo, we can still do this shit because this is fun, but we don't need to do this in doubt.
Yeah.
We can do this like in certainty, pretty much by establishing what it is and then flirting. Like you should flirt, for instance, like if you got a girl, right? Like you should flirt with your girl. Like,
Oh, yeah.
even if she's your girl, you know what I'm saying? Like you guys have been dating for 6 months. Like, so what? Like,
Just because you have her doesn't mean that she'll always stay. You got to still show her that
it's
it's the same attraction level that you had when you first met her.
exactly, because like flirting and stuff is the same thing as like it's the same energy as like being sexy. You know what I'm saying? And like people lose the sexiness factor in relationships, and part of that is because you've probably fully exposed yourself already, right? Now, one of the things about sexiness is the fact that we don't see everything, so our imagination has to play a role. And this is part of the reason why we don't really respect people who expose themselves to many people, because they've taken away the imaginative factor, right? Like when my mind has to, oh, look at those jeans, and you think about what's underneath those. But if everyone walked around naked, aka how you would see that person 10 seconds after having sex with them, it becomes more normalized, right? Like if there's someone who you've, been having sex with, say for a year, right? Like the first time you guys, it was probably like real sexy and blah blah blah. And maybe the last time it's just like, man, let's get this shit done and like go eat dinner and go the fuck to sleep. Like, like it's a completely different vibe. I feel like part of that reason is because I've already seen everything. You've already seen everything. So people think they have the connection where it's like, I can't. How can I be sexy? How can I reintroduce like the sexiness factor into a relationship? And part of it starts with you flirting with your partner. You know what I'm saying? Like basically trying to like pick them up again. In a way. And like honestly, in my opinion at least, like that's how when people are like, yo, they change in a relationship and they become complacent in a relationship, it's like this is the stuff that they're talking about. This is part of the shit they're talking about. It's like, yo, when you first were dating, you guys used to go out and like do fun shit. And like maybe a small part of that was you trying to like impress or flex or whatever. But it's like, well, then you need to decide, like, is this person someone that I want to continuously impress and flex upon? I want to use the word flex, but like kind of impress, I think is a better word. Like, I would love if I was 20 years into a relationship with my wife and I'm still able to find ways to impress her, or if she like does the same for me. And I'm like, wow, like, yo, I've known you for 20 years and you're still doing things like, like either that are like thoughtful, meaningful in a way that like provokes my imagination and curiosity when I feel like I already know everything about you. Like that sparks a level inside of you of like, oh, I don't know everything about this person and like I'm excited and happy to be with them. So going back to I've been rambling now. So going back to your point to cap it off, like flirting doesn't have to cease to exist just because you've clarified your intention. And I think a lot of older women know that, especially because they've probably been in relationships, and that's probably why like they'll tell you straight up, like Jada told August, like, yo, this is just sex.
Yeah, no, I'm currently reading a book, and the title is kind of misleading, but I like it a lot. The Way of the Superior Man. And I'm only on like page 20 and I'm just like, wow, like the amount of gems that it's dropping, not only on improvements of my life, but improvements in relationship life, right? One mistake that I've learned from relationship life is that when two people come together, like I said in earlier podcasts, you don't come as one, you're two separate people. Now, with that being said, that means this we thing, it's only we when it's helping both of you on your own personal lives. That's the only time. Like, that's the reason why people become complacent, because they create this whole bubble / circle of it's a we, instead of, yeah, we're a thing, we're together, but I also have my own life. You also have your own life, and you are able to help and nourish each other in those rounds. And I know you probably want to say something.
No, I was just gonna ask you, like, do you know people who always refer to themselves as we?
Yes. And it upsets me.
They're like, yeah, we can't come. I was like, nigga, who's we? I didn't invite your girl. I invited you, nigga.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Because like I said, when you create a world of we, it not only limits the amount of possibilities of new ventures and new possibilities of your own life, but it also makes you complacent in your romantic life, where there's no spark, there's no excitement. It's just we, So going forward, whoever the next girl that I date, whatever, I have to keep in my mind that, yeah, it's a we, but I also have and I have my life as well. So that there's going to be certain aspects you probably won't even know until later on in the relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's funny because like we're talking about complacency right now. But we started off talking about Drake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? And so like
that's so crazy.
It is, but like this is the connection, is like Drake, one of the things that I find most admirable about him is the fact that he's been pretty much at the top of the game for the past 10 years, right? Pretty much since he came out like public, like,
he said it on When to Say When. 500 weeks, I fill the charts with my pain.
Yeah, that's 10 years. You know,
That's
50,
10 years
like
of being on the charts.
52 weeks in a year, you know, that's just under 10 years. Like, and he's right. Like, you know, Best I Ever Had came out in '09.
Yeah.
You know, he had his mixtapes before then, but that was pretty much the
song
start
that popped it off.
of Starlit Drake.
Mhm.
And what I basically want to get is like, we're talking about relationships and not becoming complacent in relationships, right? Now, relationship doesn't just signify romanticism, right? Relationship is my relationship with myself, my relationship with my work, my relationship with God, my relationship with my brother, my relationship with my family. Like, there's a million different relationships, right? So Drake's relationship with his work, or Drake's relationship with his fans, or whatever, more I guess more accurately put, his work. How has this man been at the top of his game? Like, he, you know, you can say, oh, he's fell off here, he got a little complacent here. How do you think he's been able to keep longevity? That's the word, the longevity of his relationship. Like, he's been at the top of the game for 10 years now.
I think it goes back to
Like,
what we were saying.
success.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what we were saying earlier. It's the brand. The brand that Drake has created is so phenomenal. Like, bro, OVO, everyone knows who OVO is. You know what I'm saying? People will rep Drake to the death of them for the simple fact that when Drake drops new music, oh, it's all over Twitter. Like, when Drake announced he's dropping an album, I forgot the title of the album recently, but when he dropped that music video with the baby, he knew.
It's like
yeah, baby. Like, he knew, and he always knows when he drops music, everyone stops what they're doing and is like, there's new Drake. It's very similar to there's new Kendrick, there's new Cole, because of the brand that they built of. And, you know, people can say, oh, Drake fell off on this area. Oh, he might be too complacent. I don't care what you say. Drake is definitely top 5 artist of our generation. You know what I'm saying? Like this, and it's not even the numbers. It's like he was able to be on the charts for 500 weeks.
Okay, so and that's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to say is, like, take someone like Rihanna. You know what I'm saying? Rihanna's top. Rihanna has been top,
and she hasn't dropped an album in so long.
Exactly, and that's what I'm trying to say is that, like, how, like, what is it that Drake is doing different that he's able? And I'm not talking about maintaining stardom, right? Because Rihanna, of course, still stardom levels and everything. How has this man been able to continuously drop bangers for the past decade? You know, like,
there's a science to making a quote unquote hit song.
we can talk about, like, the, you know, you got to get this beat and then do this you know, flow or whatever. But if it's so scientific and formulaic, like, why hasn't anyone else been able to solve the equation?
That's a really good question. Maybe with Drake.
Do you think, well, here's another question. Do you think people, like, just burn out doing top level work for after so long? Like, do you think that it's feasible for someone to, just like a star basketball player, right? Michael Jordan today at 40, 50, whatever years old would whoop 99% of people, still whoop their ass at basketball. He would, you know what I'm saying? Like, no question about it in my mind. He's not at where he was, but he's still, like, at that, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you think that there's, like, just a natural place where, like, you peak for a while in, like, in your domain, and then after a while you're like, oh, I just need something different, and you switch it up?
I'm not too sure, you know, because some people will argue that with a lot of artists, even with, you know, Kendrick, which personally, I don't think Kendrick has ever made a bad album. I think every album he's ever dropped has been amazing. But even some people are like, oh, Damn wasn't, it was okay. Bro, Damn was an instant classic. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So for some people, they can say, you know, there's a certain peak for certain artists, and that could be true for specifically certain artists, because you can hear in their discography that's like, they kind of got complacent. They're talking about, like, you know, there's nothing really new, or there's nothing really fresh, or there's something for them that's evolving, right? And I think that's a big factor for Drake. Drake, since '09, like, imagine when Drake dropped Best I Ever Had, 2010 was Take Care, and then so on and so on. He was able to prove himself year after year of being like, I can make not only great quality music, but the brand that I rep and that people love is continuously growing. I think that's the reason why, that science formula isn't always working for everybody else. It's for the simple fact that, hey, it could possibly be a great hit song, but if you don't have the branding, if you don't have the type of marketing tactics that Drake has, or at least the capability to be consistent, because even Drake said on When to Say When, you can drop like what was it? Drop one hit. I dare you to do that shit again. Drake has dropped hits for 10 years. And that's the thing that people kind of undermine. It's like, yo, Drake is able to
let's bring up something that I didn't clarify, I guess, right?
Mhm.
Like, we're talking about how do you continuously have success and not grow complacent, right? We never really define what does success mean. What
It's
is
different
it
for everybody.
what does it look like? Like, I was thinking right now as you were talking about Akon, right?
Okay.
And like Akon was big like 15 years ago, right?
Mhm.
But the man still makes music today. It's not maybe his main thing that he's doing, but he just released the remix to whatever like a couple weeks ago with Tekashi, right? To
Yeah.
Locked Up with Tekashi. It's like, what does success mean for him? You know what I'm saying? In different like in that regard with his work. Has his work just evolved to encompass a lot of different things, and that's why he's able to still define himself as successful?
That's what I was gonna touch upon. Where it's same thing with Rihanna.
Yeah,
Same thing with
the
Akon,
Fenty
Missy
Beauty
Elliott.
line. Yeah,
There's
Yeezy.
Yeezy. There's more than just the music, and that's similar to Drake. I don't think Drake is.
Shut up and dribble.
Yeah, that's a stupid statement. Like even like LeBron James, I would say in terms of NBA like history, he is one of like the most prominent figures that not only does NBA but does other ventures as well, so that his family is not rich but wealthy.
Mhm.
Like we said, Drake is wealthy, Rihanna is wealthy, Akon is wealthy. All these people are wealthy because they realize, oh, I'm not just a producer, I'm not just an engineer, I'm not just a music artist. I can have other. This is just one avenue. I can have multiple avenues, and that's the reason why I think Drake has been consistent. Rihanna has been consistent. Missy Elliott has been consistent. Is for the simple fact that they've realized their worth. Ah, there it goes. There we go. I think it's because people realize their worth and they take it way more seriously. Because I was even driving back from our local like grocery store right next to us, and I was just thinking, I was like, because I found a video of myself performing 3 years ago, March 8th, 2017, the exact date. At Hofheimer in downtown Richmond. I remember it exactly. It was a great night. But that was
I like that spot.
Yeah, it was a dope spot, right?
Did you do the rooftop or where?
Nah, it was when you go up the stairs, it's like right in that section.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I was just thinking, I was like, yo, that was 3 years ago. What have I done since then? And I was actually able to sit down and be like, I am so fucking proud of myself. The amount of consistency I had throughout the years, even when things were going left and things weren't going right in my corner, I still maintained a consistent effort and believed in my dreams. 3 years ago, I felt personally, I was like the underdog of the scene. Now I feel like I'm popping. Not popping because, oh, I made a hit song and cool. No, it's because I've been consistent. Like you can see I have work that has been shown to prove over and over again, like, yo, he's constantly getting better at what he does. And I think that's what it is. When you have the passion and when you take it seriously and you don't allow outside voices to enter your domain, it flourishes 100%.
I agree, bro. The consistency is key.
100%, bro. It's crazy.
You know what's interesting? I was thinking about when you were talking about like these people, they realize that I'm not just an athlete. I'm not just an artist. I'm not just a producer or whatever. It's like they realized this and then embodied who they really were and found even greater success in that. But yet we all just walk around like, oh, I'm an accountant. What do you do? I'm an engineer. Oh, what do you? And then you spend your whole day. Oh, I'm just a teacher. Oh, I'm just a. We like so normally
I'm
stick
learning to
one
remove
domain of our lives, right? But are inspired by these people who embody their full selves, and we know that that in and of itself is what allows them to be so successful. But we
Yes.
don't connect the dots, and we just look at our own life like, oh, oh yeah, I'm coming back from another 12-hour shift. I'm a nurse. That's what I do. It's like, well, what do you do for the other 12 hours?
I'm learning to remove the word just. Not only does it bring down confidence, but it limits the amount of abilities that you have when you say, oh, I'm just a bam, you already lost. You feel me? And like I would always say that, but no, I'm not just a music artist. I'm a music artist. I'm an engineer. I'm a podcaster. I'm a marketing and strategist. There's a lot of things that I do that you have to understand. And then that's why I say, like, for a lot of artists, have you ever noticed, like, when artists are first up and coming, you know what I'm saying? They're learning the industry, they're trying to figure things out. But that one hit song that they have is a instant 180. Their whole image, the way that they present themselves, the artistry level is crazy, right? For the simple fact that they saw it way more as just music. This is my passion. So if I'm able to explore other avenues of my life that can better me, not only will it elevate my music, but it elevates my mental as well. And every time, and the universe works mentally. You feel me? The more that you work on your mental, the more that things just start happening to you.
Yes,
And it's so, like, you're like, huh? Like, you didn't even think about it, but it happens for a reason. That's why, some people are like, oh, how did they get so big on Twitter? How'd they get recognized by so and so A-list celebrity? Well, there's your answer.
Yeah.
They use the universe. They use the universe mentally.
Like writing or doing anything creative, especially if you think about like stand-up comedy. That's an easy one for me to look at. For you to do a stand-up comedy bit, for you to write something, for you to publish any creative works, you have to go live life. Like all these songs that people hear about, like heartbreak and stuff, why do you think it resonates so much with you? Is because the nigga singing it went out there, got into a relationship, he was heartbroken, and he put his feelings into the thing. If you don't live your life, you have no reason to, like, nothing to outlet if you don't have stuff like that you're building up, and like when you watch and see like Drake and he's doing over here and he got this going on over there, and or all these people, is like that's what provides the inspiration. Like if a stand-up comic didn't go out to eat dinner with his family on some mundane shit, then he wouldn't have an interesting bit to talk about later.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and going to what you're saying, like talking about like, yo, people like saying I'm just this, I'm just that. Like that's something else people need to do, is they need to stop pigeonholing people into those positions. One of the first things people ask you all the time, I'm sure, is
What do you
like,
do?
what do you do? My response almost every single time, I laugh and I'm like, I do a lot of stuff. That's what I tell them. They're like, what do you do? I'm like, I was like, I do a lot. I'm like, where do you want to start? Because, and part of the reason I give a shitty answer is because you asked a shitty question. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just throwing out a wide fish now. Oh, what do you do? Because you want me to give you some simple, clean, whatever. When I would honestly try to answer that question, I'd get real anxiety. I remember, and I think I've told this story before.
I think you told me a bit about it.
The girl who asked me, like, what do I do?
No, I don't remember that.
Oh, okay. This is like a couple years ago, maybe like 2 years ago now. I went out and like I was talking to this girl, and she was like, yeah, so like, what do you do? And like in that moment, right, everything was cool, bro. Like I'm chilling. You know what I'm saying? Like the second she asked me that, like I got so much anxiety and anxiousness because I was like, oh, well, and then like I ended up telling her, like, I work in real estate, whatever. And like she was like, oh, cool. And like, she had a couple questions about it, whatever. After that day, like I realized, because like I always look back, I try to think back on like why I feel certain things. I'm like, why did I feel anxiety? I was thinking about it a lot. And I was like, yo, part of the reason is because I never clarified what it is that I'm doing. So after that moment, I started putting into my daily affirmations, I say what I am. So when I wake up, like it's one of the things, I'm like, I am a developer. I am an athlete. I am a writer. I am a giver. I am a lover. I am a philanthropist. Like I have a bunch of stuff. I just throw it in. I just say, I am this. I am that. I'm a reader. I'm an author. Like it shit. I didn't author shit, right? But if I tell myself I am this, I feel more confident and comfortable telling other people this. And the more I say and believe it subconsciously, the more likely I am to act in that manner as well, right? It's like the idea of like, oh, go ahead, king. Go ahead, queen. It's like, why do you think Nation of Islam calls people brother and sister? It's because subconsciously, if I call you my brother, how can I hurt you? If I call you my sister, how can I do you wrong? You know what I'm saying? Like there's something to all this stuff about saying the right words. And I always used to be one of those people who was like, yo, man, like, why are people so sensitive with the words that they use? And you know what I'm saying? I understand.
Words hold power.
Because words hold power. And like it's this hard contradictory truth of life where it's like, on one hand, you need to be strong in and of it yourself, that other people's words don't necessarily have the influence to sway you from what you know, but you do need to take other people's words into consideration because they have a different perspective than you. You know, it's like there's a lot of these contradictory truths. But once I started telling myself like, yo, I am a developer, you know, like that was the first thing I say is I am a developer. Then I say like a whole bunch of the other ones. Bro, my business started blowing up, you know what I'm saying, from that point. And when I look at it now too, that's the funniest thing is people come to me, they ask a bunch of questions about real estate and development. And like, it's funny because all my answers, they seem like, a lot of times I try to give people practical advice so they can actually go do this and that, whatever. But the thing is, I know, like me personally, I know deep down, because I've seen a lot of people do this shit or try to do this shit, better put. There's something to the success, like that you're not picking up on. And it's not the fact that I had a wholesaler or I had this specific agent or I got to use this worker. Yeah, I can hook you up with all that shit and you'll probably still fail because there's some things that you're missing. Like personally, you know, when you talk about like working on yourself so that you can do the work or do the right work.
It's more than just music.
Yeah, like you have to go out and build yourself up as a person so that, you know, going back to writers and stuff, like build yourself up as a person so that you have something to outlet. You know, like you have to take on the burden of the world so that you can shoulder it off on your music.
It's very similar.
That's why I be telling people, yo, don't worry about like finding the money. I tell them like, yo, go find a deal and you'll find the money. They'll be like, well, where am I gonna get the money? I'm like, nigga, don't worry about it. Go and they don't trust that, right? But they don't realize that that's literally how I bought all my houses.
It's a similar statement.
You think I had 50 grand just sitting in my account? No, I found a good deal and then I went to someone who had 50 grand in their account. Was like, let's do this together.
It's a similar statement to Donald Glover back in his earlier days of his career. He was saying like, I get this question all the time and it's actually very relevant to me as well now. Like it's always crazy listening to music that I listened to when I was like 14 or 15 and hearing it. I'm like, oh, that applies to my life right now. It's so crazy. So one thing he was saying is that people come up to me all the time and say, yo, where do you make beats on? How do you engineer? What do you like, you know, what kind of camera do you use? And he's like, what are you doing differently that I can't do? And what he said was, it's simply because you just don't want to do it, you know, and it's very true. It's like when people look at me and you, or you and I proper, doing our podcast, or me uploading clips of my freestyles, or me like constantly just posting stuff. Everyone's like, yo, how do you do this? And yada, yada, yada. It's like, bro, it's because I want to do it. And I have the faith and the passion of, I know myself now. There was a point in my life 4 years ago or so, I didn't know myself, but now I'm in a position where I know myself and I know my worth. So yeah, I can get a job and make this money, da 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 da. So that's why when people say, oh, you need an internship and you need to, no, fuck that. I don't care about that. I'm making my own brand. You know what I'm saying? Like 5 years from now, bro, popping. Like, I'm going to be good because I laid the bricks down.
Spot on. I can't even contribute, bro. I can't even. Because it's that's exactly how I feel. Because that's literally it. It's like every property that I buy, people ask me, bro. They're like, oh, who do you use for an agent? Oh, who do you use for a lender? Oh, who is your workers? I was like, I'll give you all of that information. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'll give you from A to Z. I'll open my whole book. I tell people, I'm being
I'm like,
serious.
here you go.
Bro, in terms of transparency, I tell people, I'll tell them exactly how much money I paid for shit, how much money and it does not matter. It doesn't matter because they're not going to put in the work. I learned that really early on when I saw how Baba ran his business, because people would come into the office, bro. When I was young, I'm talking about like, I was like 14, 15. Like I'd go to the office sometimes and like, I'd see other people there and like, I'd hear and like, this man's telling them all this stuff about our business. Like, he's like, you do this so you can sign up. And he's and like in his business, he's creating competitors. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a set pool of people you can transport. So he's like, he's creating competitors. I'm like, I'm asking him like, why are you doing this? He was like, it doesn't matter. He was like, I'm telling you out of the goodness of my heart. He was like, but I know you're not gonna do it.
Like, that's a gem.
He was like, you're not gonna build what I built, like, because you don't have the same drive that I did when I built this shit. You don't have the same why. You know, your why is weak.
That's facts. Yeah. That's just a great episode.
Yeah, we just need to leave off that note.
Yeah, just leave off that. All right, yo. It's Ahmed.
And Luffy.
And this is the Brotherly Love Podcast. Thank you guys for listening.